Welcome. I'm Katibe Simmone. I'm a soul evolution coach. I'm also a workshop facilitator, speaker, and author. My mission is to help you evolve into your best life of love, peace, joy, and abundance on all levels, including the levels of spirituality, mental, emotional, and physical. Today, I'm going to do a synopsis of a video I posted of a light trance channeling of myself on August 7th, 2019. That's when it occurred. I felt it would be helpful to get a behind the scenes summary about what I was experiencing and also an analysis of what my thoughts were on this light trance channeling that happened spontaneously and unexpectedly. Just to give you a little bit of background on myself, I had a spiritual awakening in 2009. I embarked on a program of self-improvement, and that turned into a spiritual awakening, unbeknownst to me and unexpected. I began to look at the world differently. I realized and understood, and I'm hearing the word accepted and embraced, that I am a spiritual being having a physical existence for my highest evolution, to evolve spiritually into the divine being that I am, and to express that in my thoughts, words, and actions. This is all of our purposes, whether you believe it or not, whether you have another idea. Some people feel our purpose is to know God, or whatever term you want to substitute for the term God, creator, divine being, highest intelligence, all-knowing. I don't want to step any toes religiously here, but what I feel, and I have received telepathy on this and also psychic knowingnesses over the years since 2009, since my awakening, is that we are not to only know that highest essence, that divine nature, that godlike being, we are to become that ourselves. Our lives here on earth are a series of soul lessons for us to evolve toward that, so that we can embody that, for us to move away from our human ego, which is low vibrational, and step into the divine aspect of ourselves and be that, all the way down to the thought level, to what you're thinking every day. So that was my epiphany, that raised my consciousness and shifted my vibration in 2009. Prior to that, I had no idea or realization of that. I was not educated in that. I was not familiar with spiritual, metaphysical, and esoteric teachings. I was living in the very traditional, conventional world of form, which is sometimes referred to as the world of illusion. I was focused and had made a priority to become educated, to shore up my professional designations in order to attain financial stability, and also to attain a level of status and prestige. And so I have a master's in accounting and a master's of science, and I have a bachelor's in mathematics and a master's of science in accounting, and I passed all 4 parts of the CPA exam, certified professional accountant exam, as it's referred to in America, and I'm a CPA. So I had completed all those requirements in my mind in order to attain a level of financial freedom, I'm hearing telepathically, and security. That was to shore up my base chakra. Your base chakra is an energetic center located at your perineum area, at the base of your spine, and it's associated with financial security, safety, stability. It was important for me to have that journey in my life. I don't regret what I learned during my spiritual awakening in 2009, and I don't say that it came too late, and it came at the proper time for me. that is a teaching for you as well. Whatever you're experiencing is what you're meant to experience at this time for your soul's development. Sometimes you simply can't rush it, and you need to shore up certain experiences and have those in order to move on. And that was my journey. That's how I came to be here now, talking about such an arcane occult topic as trance channeling. So what channeling is this ability to receive information from beyond from other dimensional realms. This is, and I'm hearing it's psychic information. It's not tangible information of the third dimensional world, the earthly realm that we currently exist in. This is information. It could be data. It can come in many forms, and it's located in other dimensional frequencies that vibrate at a non-earth frequency. This is why many people, if they're not energetically sensitive or acute, are not able to channel specific ideas. And when I do this, it means I'm getting some kind of telepathy. So what can you channel? You can channel words, phrases, sentences, paragraphs. I do channel that. You can also receive sounds, energy sensingness. That's a form of channeling. Some of us are spontaneous channels where we don't realize we're channeling, but then we say something to someone and it is what that person needed. We all do that. You've probably done that a few times in the past few days. You don't even realize you're channeling. And then there's intentional channeling. What occurred on August 7th, 2019 is a light being actually who was embedded in my energetic field, actually spoke through me using my physical systems, my physical structures. For example, my voice box, my larynx, and this light being also actually used my hands to make hand movements. I am a channeler. I've learned since 2009 who has the ability to trance channel, which is pretty serious business. I'm not the only trance channeler. There are other authentic trance channelers out there. There are different levels of trance channel. You could be in a light state where you're pretty conscious, or you could be in a very heavy, full trance channel where the channeler is unconscious. The method in which I channeled on August 7th, 2019 was a light trance. That was very evident by the video. You can see I had control of I had some level of lucidity and consciousness. I was able to turn on the video player to record it as it happened on my iPhone, and also to turn it off. I wasn't knocked out, totally unconscious. So that was a channeling as an example of a light trance. And I do call that a trance because this light being, who identified himself as a being of my core unit of beings who guide me, was using my voice box. I noticed when I replayed the video of this channeling that I was taking breaths in an unusual way, which is typical for me as an example of a trance channeling. And also, it might not be evident through that video, but what happens is my diaphragm area, which I believe that's what it is, it actually takes a unique or special, like upward movement, like between each word or syllable from the being. I just saw a light orb flash about 8 feet away from me. It was white, and it was about maybe a little smaller than a baseball. I always take those light flashes as validation that I'm doing good work. I'm doing my service and making my contribution when I'm making these videos, when I see a light flash like that. That's the ability to see light flashes and orbs is actually a form of clairvoyance. And that's when you see activity, light forms, light flashes, light discharges with your physical eyes and your physical space that other people around you might not see. I've learned since 2009, since my spiritual awakening, that I have this heightened ability of clairvoyance where I can see these type of light flashes during the day, throughout the day, and they happen naturally. But again, I'll take that as validation that I'm on the right path by sharing this synopsis of the August 7th, 2019 light trance channeling. And so I was explaining to you about how this being was using my physical structures. When I posted this video on my personal Facebook, I did include a short written summary of some of the key points, but I felt like I needed to explain more for posterity and for your learning, and also for my own benefit in the future as documentation and as part of my personal chronicles of my psychic development. I know that the universe really wants me to do this. They've expressed that to me telepathically in many different ways, and including this being during this light trance channeling. He said I was supposed to share my day-to-day psychic, and I'm hearing paranormal activities so that other people can learn. Hopefully by me sharing this, you will become more aware of your own innate psychic abilities and start to tune in and strengthen them. When you acknowledge and are aware of them, you could actually utilize them for your benefit, which I do through my intuition to help me make daily decisions in my life. It has helped me tremendously to have heightened and activated psychic senses. And sometimes they come through in the form of my intuition. This light being, I just want to share some key points that I made in my written expository. Sometimes I have trouble with words. I don't know why. It's almost like these beings are always in my energy field, and they're always learning through my eyes and growing. In fact, this being from my core unit said that they had embedded in my energy field when I was a young girl. I didn't know that. That was new information for me during the channeling. I always thought your core group of beings were there since the day you were born. I know and I feel, of course, your beautiful guardian angels are always there since the day you were born. But this is the first time I heard that my core unit of beings didn't really come on board until I was a young girl. And this is what this being said. And so that was revelatory for me. And it kind of makes sense. If you have a high level of guides, invisible guides, and we all do, would they really be there when you're just a few months old, or a toddler, or a year or two old? Would they really be there, these ascended masters such as Jesus Christ, Master Katibe, Buddha? I'm talking about those type of high level beings. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term ascended masters, but these are consciousnesses that walked on the planet Earth. And then when they transitioned to the afterlife, and I'm sure they have had numerous lives in various forms, they actually decide to help humanity and guide them. And excuse me, most of us have a team of at least one or two ascended masters. I'll give you one name of an ascended master that's guiding me is Serapis Bey. I found that out a few times over the years, and also Master Katibe is another ascended master. You can Google their names. If you're not familiar with them, I'm not going to explain what their roles were in the past or who they are now, because I don't want to digress too far from the content of this video. And again, I'm just sharing some of the more unique aspects of this video, what I learned, the behind the scenes feelings, etc., that I experienced. And so that was new information for me, that this inner core had embedded in my energy field. The term embedded was actually new. I've been using the word incorporation or blending into my energy field. Those are the two terms I usually use when I do my video blogs and talk about channeling. I use the word incorporation or blending into my energy field. This is the first time I've heard the term embedded. I really like that term. It gets the point across as to the close connection we can have with our etheric invisible guides who are guiding us. They're actually embedded. And for me, it was shared through me, through trance, that they didn't come to me till I was a young girl. Let me give you some background on that. Since February of 2019, and right now we're in August, so for about the past 6 months, I've been hearing on and off spontaneously and telepathically in my own thought voice, 70s, the 70s. That's all I heard, the 70s. I didn't know what that meant. I would ask telepathically back, what do you mean? What happened in the 70s? And I would hear just the term, the 70s. I had a theory that maybe I was a walk-in, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that is when another consciousness walks into a human body and kind of takes over that human body. And that's a pre-arrangement. It's not scary. It's not a possession. It's a pre-contractual agreement prior to the incarnation. But the thing is, in the 1970s, when I was a young girl, I would have to be at least 4 years old. I never had any type of ailment, so thankful for that, or was in a coma or had a near-death experience where a being would have the opportunity to come into my physical body and actually replace the Katibe consciousness that had been there for a few years. And now they're using my body as their vehicle, and that's what's called a walk-in. And I thought that maybe I was a walk-in, but I don't think that's it. I have a feeling that the 70s that I kept hearing is when this inner core unit of beings embedded in my energy field. So they must have done that when I had to be at least 4 years old, that they embedded in 1970. So that was a unique piece of information for me. I mean, I don't know if they did it right in 1970, if they did it in 1975 or 77. I'm trying to feel if I'm getting any psychic hits about that. I'm kind of hearing telepathically it was in the early 70s. So probably between 1970 and 1974. I'm trying to sense if they're going to give me, I'm going to receive more information about the specific year. Okay, maybe 72, 73. I'm going to wait and see whether I receive validation on that, or more an additional clarification in the next few days or in the near future. So that was news to me, okay? That was fascinating information that these high-level consciousness beings that act as your guides can embed in your energetic field when you are a young person. That was my experience. If you've had another experience or have other knowledge about this, I would love to read your comments. Please comment on this video. So that was a unique aspect. Also, this being also told me, this being did not give me his specific name or label or how he likes to be referred to, his nomenclature. And sometimes as I'm sharing my thoughts and analysis on these videos, I get additional information, and I'm kind of hoping they'll do that. These beings will do that for me at this time, but I'm not getting a hit as to who the specific being is. I don't feel that it was Master Katibe, an ascended master who is in my core. I'm not really getting a hit. I don't think it's a familiar being. It could be an extraterrestrial type being. I know this sounds highly unusual, but I've just heard so many different names of beings telepathically over the years. I'll give you a few of them. Arduan, Arduon, Azeroth, Azaroth, Malik, Malik, Merida, Mereda. These are very unusual names, and I'm not sure if it's like an extraterrestrial type being that actually spoke through me, but I know he's speaking for the collective of my inner core unit of guides. He speaks on their behalf. At the beginning of the video, he said he was part of the core unit, and then he was speaking, by the end of the video, he had said he was speaking on behalf of the core unit. So kind of shifted a little bit. And I'm not going to question that. When you channel, trance channel, when they voice channel through you, it's such an unusual method that it is not totally wrapped up and doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes. You just need to understand that and be flexible and adaptable with it. So that's what I've learned. Another interesting point was this male being. I definitely sensed he was a male being. He had a male orientation more than a feminine orientation. So that's my sensing is behind the scenes. He said I was an Arcturian, which is a type of, I don't even know how to describe this, an extraterrestrial located from another part of the universe. I haven't received technical information to date on the Arcturians. I know there are other channelers who have received information about Arcturians. It's a common species type that's here on this planet Earth. And to be honest, I haven't researched it because I want to get my own information. I don't want to be influenced by another channeler's information. So I really don't have too much information on the Arcturians. It's just that I know I'm an Arcturian. And I heard that hundreds of times telepathically in my own thought voice over the past 2 or 3 years. So I took that to heart and took that to mean that's solid information for me. Many light workers like myself have come on this planet Earth at this time during this early age, astrological age of Aquarius we are in, to help humanity, to inspire, to uplift, to help people inner heal, to help raise their consciousness. And they come as star seeds, another type of extraterrestrial species or higher intelligence species are the Palladians. Let me think of another one. I'm hearing the Lemurians. If any more come to me, I'll let you know. So this being during the light trance channeling said that Arcturians are of a different caliber. And that's the first time as a channeler that I heard the term caliber in relation to Arcturians. I've kind of heard that Arcturians are like highly intelligent and they're helping humanity, but I never heard the word caliber. I'm a wordy because I'm a writer. I channeled ebook with Aristotle and Spirit, and I spent hours writing sometimes, and so I'm very particular and discerning about specific words. So that's why I bring up the word caliber. It's the first time I've heard that reference in terms of Arcturians. Another thing, this core unit of my inner group mentioned was that Arcturians, when they come to the planet Earth, they have a special designation. And that's the first time I've heard that special designation. And I'm very curious about that phraseology, designation. That's so kind of unusual word to use. So that really popped in my mind. Over the years, since 2009, I have received a few clairvoyant images in my mind, and I feel like I do have some special markers in my energy field. it's been shown to me through images, and I feel like I have a pentagram, which is a 5-pointed star, and it's right on my third eye. And it's probably located in a different dimensional frequency, which is why you're not gonna be able to see it unless maybe you have heightened clairvoyance. But I have like a pentagram symbol marked on me in another level dimensional field of my aura. I've gotten that hit more than, I might say maybe 5 times I've gotten it since 2009. Another term I have heard telepathically is the word emblem, and that's such an unusual word. So I feel like I have emblems in my energetic field. I can Google what the word emblem means, but again, I'm hearing some sort of insignia. I have certain markers in my energetic field, and maybe that's what this light being was referring to when he said I had a special designation. So I have like certain symbols in my energy field that mark me. So that's a fascinating subject. I'm glad that was brought up during the channeling. It shows that we have energetic structures or markings in our energetic field that are vibrating in other dimensional frequencies that are non-earth frequencies. So it's just fascinating stuff. I'm just Googling emblem so I could read the description. Okay, it says here, a heraldic device or symbolic object as a distinctive badge of a nation, organization, or family. So I probably have some kind of Arcturian emblems in my energetic field, and maybe that's why this light being said I have a special designation. Okay, to me that's fantastic information. I noticed during this video that I was in light trance for most of the time, because I can tell by the way I was breathing and the unusual accent I had, and also the tones, my voice tones. My voice tones actually sounded almost robotic, and that to me is very, it's a marker that I am doing some kind of light trance channeling. I almost sound like a robotic voice modulator at times, but that's how the information comes in for me, and that's I do my best to let the being have full capacity and not interfere with the way he wants to express himself through me. I do my best as a channeler not to control it. It takes some effort. This is a teaching point as a channeler to really have your ego step aside and say, I'm just going to let this being, because I am in a safe space with them, communicate through me the way he authentically wants to communicate. I try not to censor it or monitor it or control it. That's a very important teaching. That's why the video portrayed the channeling in the manner that it came in. It was a kind of little funky and strange, but that's the nature of light trance channeling. There was only, I think, 1 or 2 lines in that video, the recording, where I saw that I kind of popped out and I wasn't doing light trance channeling. I was actually doing telepathic channeling, and I was just relaying the information I was receiving. And that's when my voice tone went to almost normal mode, normal pitch, a normal cadence. And I recognized it immediately. I said, oh, that's when I kind of lost the connection with him on a trance level, and I popped into telepathic, and I was just relaying it this way, which is way less stressful for me physically. It's easier and non-taxing on my physical system. But then after the 2 or 3 sentences where I was just doing telepathic channeling, then I guess the being was able to come back in and get his settled in again, and then it went back to light trance channeling. This is very technical information, but I do impart it because I do feel there's going to be a few people who are going to be watching this video, and they're going to appreciate this technical advisory council I'm hearing telepathically. Another point I want to make is that I was perfectly safe during this light trance channeling. I have many light workers in my community, including my Facebook community, and in my sort of friendship circle that I've met over the years since my awakening, who are very familiar with channeling. I sensed after I viewed this video that a few of them, and some of them are teachers, they teach about metaphysical, spiritual topics. I had a feeling, I sensed that some of them were going to be disapproving of my light trance channeling. When I sensed that, I went back to the written narrative that I had included about this video and inserted a paragraph about how I was safe during the trance channeling. I was not endangered. That if I did feel that way, I would have taken appropriate measures. I know how to do psychic protection. I have taken many classes, foundational classes since 2009 on that topic. I know so many techniques. I just sensed that there were a few spiritual teachers and practitioners who would disapprove of the spontaneous nature of this channeling. Some of them would say, you need to control when and if these beings come to you, you need to have a set time, a set session during the day, like regular office hours. I have to tell you, I have done that. That's how I channeled the ebook with Aristotle and Spirit. Every morning I would wake up a late morning after 10 and I would sit behind my computer and I would ask him for his daily message. And then he would come to me and I could hear him telepathically in my own thought voice, and I would start typing away the message he wanted to give to me that day. That's very intentional channeling. That's controlled. I had done it regularly at a specified time block. But Aristotle in Spirit, when he came to me in 2015, he told me that I should have a session with him every day, and preferably in the morning when my energy was the highest. So I have worked that way, where I have given allotted time blocks to light beings to channel through me, and then I would disseminate I would record their information, transcribe it just like a secretary, and then I would share it to the masses through my blog posts, through my Facebook, etc. But this channeling, trance channeling, was totally spontaneous, and that was the nature of the video. And I feel that some spiritual teachers would chide me for that. I just want to face the white elephant in the room and say I'm very clear, and I know these processes. I've heard telepathically that, excuse me for that interruption, that I'm protected. I must have heard that so many times over the past 3 or 4 years. You are protected. You are protected. And so I'm in a safe zone. But if I ever sensed or felt that I wasn't, again, I would take the appropriate measures, stop the channeling. You can tell the level and vibration of the entity you are channeling by how it feels as the channeler. And you could also tell by the quality of their words. Are the words loving, kind, high vibrational, or are they dark, violent, trying to be insightful? So this is how you evaluate the intelligence that you're channeling. Discernment must always be practiced, and I do practice it. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was clear about that. For whatever reason, this trance channeling happened suddenly and spontaneously. I feel it's part of my arrangement I had with these beings prior to this incarnation. It's part of our contract together. That's what I've heard telepathically. And this just is the way it's going to happen for me sometimes, as long as I'm aware astute and discerning, there is no harm in that, and I am in a safe place. I feel safe. It is all jiggy. Though I know there's going to be some spiritual teachers, even after I put this caveat out there, that won't agree with me. But that's fine. That's fine. I know myself. I know my group, and I'm comfortable with that. But I just wanted to bring that up. Also, I know, and it's unfortunate, I shouldn't say unfortunate, it is the way of our planet at this time, that there's going to be some people who view my light trance video, and some people who consider themselves psychic or highly intuitive or knowing and experts on energy and on channeling and giving readings. They're going to judge the quality of my channeling. I've noticed that when the beings use my voice box to speak through me, their vocabulary isn't as high and the content isn't as coherent as when I sit behind the computer and I hear them telepathically. That's a higher quality of channeling. I understand why, because when a being has to use your voice box and your mouth, and it's a whole nother level. It requires a whole nother level, and the word I'm hearing is dexterity and manipulation. I almost don't want to use the word manipulation because it's going to throw people off and they're going to get turned off. But it is. They have to know how to use your head sometimes. Sometimes they'll move your head around like that. In this video, in the beginning, the being was using my hand and making this hand motion like this in the very beginning. It was a very unusual hand gesture. And because I was only in a light trance, I was not in a full trance, I was having my own thoughts in the background, and I was saying, this is going to be a turn off. You're doing this with my hand, but my viewers are not going to understand what that means. And so I actually took control and I put my hand down. And I said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. And maybe I shouldn't have done that, but the beings, I wanted to teach the beings that I know my fellow brothers and sisters, and what's going to turn them off and be really too freaky, So in that instance, I took control, and that's why in the beginning, a few minutes into the video, I did not allow the being to do this anymore, and I just said no. So that's the benefits of being in a light trance channel, where you can take those type of measures. So what I was talking to you about was the content and quality of a voice channeling. And for me, it has been that the channeling isn't as articulate or coherent. This channeling actually was a marked improvement over my past voice channelings, where it's been very almost elementary education vocabulary, very simple words. Okay, yes, good, something like that. Very, very simple monosyllabic, I'm hearing, words. So this light trance channeling was actually an incremental progression for me, and I was happy because I saw my progress, that this was a higher quality trance channeling than I've done in the past. My spouse also viewed the video, and he agreed that it was more fluid and articulate, but still, there's still some improvement to be made, and I do work with the beings and let them know that I am open to that. One of the reasons why there has been a marked improvement in my light trance channeling is that I've had psychic procedures over the past few years. I know this sounds freaky and weird, but some of you light workers may be familiar when you have psychic procedures during your meditations, deeper states of meditation, or during your sleep state in your dreams. And during these psychic procedures, I actually become lucid if it's in my sleep state, and I'm shown clairvoyant visions or images of doctors, and they're surrounding me. Sometimes I'll see what they're doing to my cerebral area. I know this sounds very freaky, but and sometimes they're doing work on my throat chakra, because that's a very important key element I'm hearing telepathically to do channeling, especially trance channeling, because the key part is the entities, these higher intelligences, need to learn how to work with your voice box, your heart, and your throat chakra. I'm hearing the term voice modulation. Okay, another thing that I did, which was, now that I think about it, it was probably a little bit of foresight, and I didn't know it. This channeling occurred, this spontaneous live channeling occurred on August 7th, 2019. On August 1st, 2019, I actually posted on my Facebook that I was going to start sleeping with a large lapis lazuli, and I have it right here. Look how big this thing is. Okay, it's over 1 foot long. It's about 3 inches wide and 3 inches deep. And I did that on August 1st. I've been having this lapis lazuli on my bed because I want to infuse the space, especially my sleeping space, with lapis lazuli energy, because lapis lazuli is a blue stone, as you saw, so it vibrates to the color of your throat chakra. It also is good for the third eye chakra. And I want to vitalize my throat chakra so that I can become a better public speaker when I do these videos. But in hindsight, I did not know that 6 days later that I would actually be doing a light trance channeling, and that was all about my throat chakra. So I have a feeling that on an unconscious level, maybe I was preparing myself 6 days prior and infusing my throat chakra with this beautiful lapis lazuli so that it would be strengthened. And now I'm getting the word strengthened, so I feel like I prepared myself. I did my pre-work prior to this trance channeling without even knowing exactly why. That's amazing. That's really fascinating. I bet we all do this. I feel like we all do this, where we do things unintentionally or not knowing exactly why, and then sometime later we find out, wow, that's why I did that. That's why I said that. That's why I purchased that. That's why I went there. So this is what I mean about being a channeler. We all do it to some level, to some extent, unconsciously. Another point I want to re-emphasize that I put in the written explanation to this video when I posted it is that this light trance channeling happened on August 7th, 2019, a day before the 8/8/2019 Lions Gate. This is a special, potent astrological event, and the energies on this planet are heightened, and it has to do with the star Sirius and its proximity to the planet Earth. Sirius is the second largest star next to the sun, so it is substantial. It is potent. And this channeling happened the day before. I have sensed over the past 2 years that I am sensitive to the movements of the celestial bodies. It is because, in general, I'm just energetically acute, as the being said to me during the channeling. I feel the 8/8 Lionsgate, perfect rhyming little statement there, the high energies, and I'm hearing the term forceful energies, help promote, initiate, and sustain my trance channeling the day before. It takes a tremendous amount of internal life chi energy to be a trance channel. It is not easy to hold that type of energy. It's very specific energetic connection when you do trance channeling, and that is why the frequency of my trance channelings is very low. This is my well, you know what? Actually, I think it's my third. It's my third semi-trance, light trance channeling. It takes so much force to get that going. And I feel it was no accident that this occurred the day before the Lionsgate. In addition, I'm being reminded the Lionsgate is on August 8th, 2019. And if you're a person that has 8, the number 8 in their numerology, in their major numerology numbers, the 8-8 Lionsgate energy is additionally amplified. And I do have the number 8 in my numerology profile as one of my major life numbers. So that's another mitigating factor as to why I had that trance channel the day before. And also, I'm being reminded I'm in my 8th year birthday year. My birthday was in June. I'm a Cancer. If you add up the 2 numbers of my birthday, it adds up. It breaks down to the numerology of 8. So this whole upcoming 8 years is going to be all about 8 energy. So there's a lot of confluences with the number 8. That's another point I wanted to stress about this light trance channeling that happened spontaneously on August 7th. I want to say also, which I didn't share in my written exposition, that after the channeling ended about 2:08 p.m. after lunch. I was in a heightened state, and this is common for me. After being uses my voice box and voice channels through me for a few hours after, up to 6 to 10 hours after, I just feel like there's another being that wants to come through me and verbalize. It's a very unusual feeling, and I just feel like there's a ball of energy at the base of my throat, and it's just active, active, active. And I feel like at any moment, another being is going to come through me and start articulating using my voice structures. It's kind of an uncomfortable feeling, and I haven't learned how to alleviate that. I've used grounding techniques in the past, but they haven't been as helpful as I would like. So I've just learned that after uses my voice structures and I do a voice channeling, that the next few hours I'm going to be in a heightened state of alert with my throat chakra. To date, usually a being has not come, I don't get a second being right away, but it just feels like something's going to be happening, something's going to be activated. Other points I want to share was a telepathy I received later on that night of this channeling before going to bed. Before going to bed, I have a routine where I become quiet and still, and I listen to telepathy in my mind. I know this is a fertile time for me to receive life guidance and information. I am relaxed. My mind is open and fluid. I'm not worrying about my to-dos. I'm just open, and the word I'm hearing is receptive. And so that's when I receive some very good solid telepathy, is right before going to sleep and right upon waking up. I would recommend that you harness these times to see if you can receive your own inner guidance as well. You don't have to work so hard at being relaxed and achieving that state of stillness like you may do if you're doing a meditation in the middle of the day. Your body has some kind of cue. When it gets into the bed at night, it knows that it's going to be ready for bed and relax, and so you eliminate a lot of pre wind down time. It's a very efficient way to incorporate your meditations in. So that night, before going to bed, this is what I heard telepathically, and I heard it twice. I heard it in my own thought voice. You set your own limitations. You set your own limitations. Okay, so that's powerful. We all do that. How often do we set our standards for ourselves low, or say we can't do that, or that's too hard, or no one else has done that, how can I do that? So they're letting me know I'm setting my own limitations. What limitations are those? I'll have to contemplate that. And I heard that twice. I'm really gonna think about that. It's really a powerful question to ask yourself, is how do you limit yourself? And then I heard telepathically before going to bed the evening of this light trance channel, you have many abilities. And I must not have tapped into them yet. You have many abilities. So I'm curious as to what those abilities are. I'm going to leave the door open for them. I know I've developed my psychic awareness. I know I can further improve on that to its full capacity that's possible. And I will continue to endeavor forth in that way. But I must have some other abilities. I'm feeling they're related to psychic telepathic abilities. I'll give you an example of why I say that. Prior to this evening, about 3 days prior, so it wasn't still in August, beginning of August 2019, when I was going to bed, lying in my bed with my eyes closed, as I do as a practice to receive telepathy for myself, I heard, use your zoom lens. Use your zoom lens. That's the first time I've heard that since 2009. I've heard zoom lens many times. And so I knew that to mean that I have, or there is this ability to use your clairvoyance, to use your inner sight as like a zoom lens. What is a zoom lens? A zoom lens brings something that is far away closer. So I must have this capacity to bring images, pictures, to greater detail in the foreground. And as always, I'm like, well, how do I use my zoom lens? I asked back telepathically to the universe. How do I use my zoom lens? What is the series of steps? Oh, where's the start button? Of course, I don't receive an answer on that. The beings, my guides, want me to learn. They don't want to spoon feed me step-by-step information. There's a lot of learnings you achieve during the process of trying to learn something. So they're not going to baby me. I know that. That is part of my soul path ever since my awakening in 2009. They haven't done that. They want me to figure it out myself. And when I say they, I think it's my higher self as well, which is the highest level of your consciousness in terms of vibration. It's your divine self. I feel that when I incarnated on this planet Earth, I made a vow or promise to myself and to my guides, and I said to them, look, don't spoon feed me the information. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out myself. That'll help raise my vibration higher as I work toward that myself, as I contemplate that, put pieces together. And so that's how things have been rolling out for me since 2009. I have to admit, on a conscious level, it can get pretty frustrating. And there's been many times in the past when I've gotten very mad and irate at my guides. But when I came to the perceptual shift that it was my higher self that actually wanted to have the journey of trying to figure it out itself in order to in order for me to expand my soul, I backed off. So this is for me to figure out how to use my zoom lens. And I've tried different techniques in the past. I'm not going to get into detail here, but I will ask the universe now that I am ready and open to learn how to use my zoom lens. Maybe perhaps they can give me another clue, another hint, and I could use it effectively and consciously and not by accident. And I could actually be adept at using my zoom lens clairvoyantly. That sounds like a powerful ability, and that is why I heard what I heard the night of my trance channeling. You have many abilities. Maybe using my zoom lens is another ability. I am open to that. If any of you have learned how to use your zoom lens of clairvoyance, please share in the comments. I'm already familiar with opening up your third eye chakra, stimulating your third eye chakra, using visualization techniques, looking through my third eye, but still haven't figured that out. Maybe the universe will send me a big on button for my zoom lens, and all I got to do is press that. Okay, so that was the telepathy that I received. This was in regard to the telepathy I received the night of my light trance channeling. That I heard I had many abilities, and that I set my limitations. Okay, I just want to review in my own mind what other points I wanted to distinctly express that I either put in my written exposition in the summary of when I shared this video, or that I did not include. Another thing I want to stress is that I've been hearing telepathically August. I've been hearing this since February 2019. I've heard this perhaps maybe 20 to 30 times, so it's clear that August is significant. When I telepathically ask back, is it August 2019? I don't receive a response consciously back, and that's okay. And so this trance channeling happened in August, on August 7th. So I thought perhaps maybe that's why I've been hearing August 2000. That's why I've been hearing the month August, but I'm not sure if that's all there is to it. Another phraseology I've been hearing since February of 2019, and I must have heard this 300 times telepathically in my own thought voice, at random times during the day, unexpectedly, unasked for. I heard this before I go to bed and when I wake up, and again during the day. I heard this: you're going to look into Christ's eyes. You're going to look into Christ's eyes. So I don't know exactly what that means. I could take that literally and say, well, Christ might be coming to me clairvoyantly, and I might have a vision and an image in a meditation or in a dream. I did kind of vaguely hear that it was going to happen in a dream. I do have many lucid out-of-body experiences that I chronicle through video. So maybe Jesus or Christ is going to come to me in an out-of-body, and I'm going to look into his eyes, and something's going to happen. Something major. And I know Christ he's a master teacher for me. He is for many, many human beings. He comes to so many people to help guide them. And I don't want to be disrespectful, but I wasn't really raised in that religion where Christ was the profile figure. I'm from Turkey. I was born in Turkey. So on a conscious level, I don't have a history with Christ and his teachings and the Bible. And if that is your study, blessings to you. If that works for you, helps you live an ethical, moral life, great. I'm just not familiar with it. It was not my cultural background. And so that that I'm going to look into Christ's eyes, I have to say is a little unusual for me, because I really don't have that familiarity with him that other people would, that are in the, I think I would say, the Christian and Catholic religion. Sorry, I don't mean to sound so ignorant, but I haven't been a prolific studier of religion. So that's telepathy, and I've been hearing you're going to look into Christ's eyes. It has nothing to do with the trance channeling that happened and the night of the trance channeling, but I'm just sharing that with you as to the type of telepathy unusual telepathy I received. Okay, so I think I've covered the major points that I want to make in regards to this video, what I want to stress. I also wanted to help allay some people's fears about what if I was channeling a dark entity, and I shared that I always use my discernment and my sensitiveness, and I felt very safe. And the entity that came through me was a high vibrational entity. And if it wasn't, I would take precautionary measures otherwise, or measures in the moment that it's happening. Okay, I hope that's helpful to you. I hope you can understand. Okay, now I'm being reminded. I'm being reminded that I must stress that that I was meant to share that video. The being asked me to share the video because he wanted to make people aware. I believe he called it the possible communication with other species and higher intelligences. It is the time now for the beings through me to let whoever I'm going to touch and know me or who are familiar with me see that video. It's time for them to know that they can have these type of dialogues, communications with higher intelligences, as I do, when you raise your vibration. When you raise your base inner vibration, you will be able to have these type of communications. I'm going to go ahead and put a caveat to that. It may not be exactly like I do it, and I'm sure some of you don't want to be a voice channel because you think that's too freaky. That's fine, but you'll be able to get your guidance and communication in other ways, maybe through telepathy as you're going about your day like I do, or through written if you try to have a dialogue with them, through a journaling, etc. And I'm also being reminded how important it is to have the foundational work before attempting a trance channeling like I exhibited in that video, that you need to understand about your psychic senses, also about mediumship, trance, and higher consciousness. And that's what I did. Starting in 2019, during my awakening, I took so many classes and workshops over a period of years on channeling, on psychic senses, and on mediumship, and also on psychic protection. So I'm very well versed on the metaphysical aspects of those. You shouldn't attempt to do trance channel with no knowledge base. Please do not do that. I will just say, and I almost don't want to use this comparison, but I'm going to. It's almost like playing with a Ouija board. You might get darker, disincarnated spirits who haven't transitioned properly to the afterlife. So you really need to play it safe, do your homework, attend the workshops, do your readings, and don't go attempting channeling without a full understanding of its nature. Okay? Please heed that. I feel that this video is complete now. I hope it's been helpful for you. Please provide any comments in this regard. I would love to hear your feedback, and I wish you well on your soul's journey to expansion and evolvement. That's what it's all about, and I look forward to our next sharing. Namaste.